like to call to order the November 7th meeting of the Clearwater City Council. Our invocation this evening will be offered by Pastor Bob Brubaker from Christ Community Presbyterian Church, and our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Mr. Albritton. Pastor?
Let us pray. Father and our God, we thank you that you are the God of peace, and you have blessed us with peace and safety here in the city of Clearwater. We thank you for these who govern our city, and we pray that as they meet tonight that you would govern them with a sense of peace and unity. We pray for each person that speaks and for our city that we would be in unity and enjoy your peace and prosperity that you have blessed us with here. We give you thanks for this and commit the evening to you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor, thank you very much. It was good to see you Saturday at the Operation Shred in Morningside, and you're being back to riding your bicycle. Thank you, sir. Let me introduce our council. To my right, Mr. Poglaze.
Good evening.
Mr. Cundiff. Our city manager, Mr. Horn, is traveling today, so sitting in his position is our assistant city manager, Micah Maxwell.
Good evening.
And next to him is assistant city manager, Michael Delk. To my left is council member Dave Albritton.
Good evening.
Mr. Hoyt Hamilton.
Good evening.
Our city attorney, Pam Aiken.
Good evening.
And our city clerk, Rosemarie Call.
Good evening.
Let me please ask you, if you have a device that goes off, whether it's a cell phone or something else, that you please put it on silent. And also let me ask that if somebody is speaking, you show that person the same courtesy that you would want them to show you if you were speaking. So that, in effect, means if you like what they say, don't applaud, and if you don't like what they say, don't boo. So with that, we will continue on with our meeting, and we will first ask our Clearwater Jazz Holiday representatives to please come forward. I know we have Mr. Weinberger, who is the president and CEO, and I'll let him introduce the rest of the team that is here with him.
Good evening.
He's all dressed up.
I know, right? So, I've got some special folks with us tonight. We like to come every year after the festival and address council, mayor and council, about Clearwater Jazz Holiday and the tradition. It was an incredible year this year, an emotional year at 40 years in Clearwater, but an incredible year. I have with me on my right Lee Maidenberg, who's the president of the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation, which is the not-for-profit organization that produces Clearwater Jazz Holiday. Our secretary, Donna Yarbrough, who was at the first Clearwater Jazz Holiday in 1980, who actually helped to organize that event and is our conscience on our board to this day. So I thought it was fitting for Donna to be here with us for this presentation. Our amazing operations manager, Deborah Flournoy, and of course Gary Hallis, bow tie and all here. No cowboy hat, bow tie tonight. Handles our marketing and operations. Here to thank the city of Clearwater for its incredible support of this tradition, this important tradition. Mayor, this was a fitting year. This was your last year as mayor at Jazz Holiday, and we can't thank you enough for your words and sentiment from the stage at Jazz Holiday this year about the importance of this tradition and the unique way that it showcases our beautiful waterfront to the world, really. The unique way that it unites a community throughout the year, not just at the festival, because it has an enormous economic impact to this area, we know, but the cultural impact that the 4 days supports in the form of education programs and outreach. Each of you has come throughout the year and has been present in the neighborhood family centers that benefit, for instance, from our My Journey with Jazz program, or the elementary schools and the middle schools that benefit from our History of Jazz Education Outreach program and the countless performance opportunities that we provide. You have been there, you are in the trenches, and you see the impact, the cultural impact that this really supports. And it means the world to us. It energizes us. We are excited about the next 40 years. We are already busy planning to do it again in that beautiful space down there. And what we love most is that our audience has become as diverse as our lineup. It is truly one of the remaining festivals that can unite a community of support, people of all backgrounds in the way that we have. And we are so very proud of the partnership with the City of Clearwater. We can't thank each and every one of you enough for believing in this tradition. I want to especially thank Kevin Dunbar, Chris Cook, and the entire Parks and Rec special events team for helping to create the experience that we have. An amazing year with them and the hundreds of volunteers that make this possible. So we have a presentation tonight. We have a framed poster. Is this signed? Signed by the artists at the event this year to present to the city. It displays the amazing artwork by Clayton Schwartz. The sculpture was on the stage. It's a special piece, and this is a symbol of our gratitude for this great partnership. And so we'd like to present this signed poster to council today, and Gary also has some special commemorative of the heart on the sculpture. We created pins that we were going to present to council as well.
Now, before y'all do that, stay right there a second. Madam City Attorney,
Yes, sir.
they have a new artwork sculpture that instead of a poster for the commemorating the 40th anniversary, if they wanted to put that on the stage of the new Coachman Commons area or somewhere in the Coachman Commons area, would we have to vote on that as a council?
If you want to allow it?
Yes.
If the council wants to
Yes.
allow it? Or if an individual wants to do it?
No, if they wanted, if they don't have a place to put it,
Yeah, first you're gonna be sure they're willing to give it away.
and make it part of the stage or what, I'm putting
We
on,
know-
but you don't have any place to put it. You know, I mean, you have a small
They
office,
usually
right?
auction it off to support all the programs they do.
Is that what y'all gonna do?
So each commissioned artwork gets auctioned off at the sponsor and supporter appreciation social every year to support the foundation and the efforts in the
Oh.
community. However, we decided this year, because of the special nature of this piece, that we're probably not going to be doing that. We're going to hold on to it, and we'll see. But we would love to be able to display it for the citizens of Clearwater.
We have an arts committee, and the arts committee decides where, or helps decide where art gets,
And Mr. Hubbard is right here, and he's,
where it gets displayed.
Correct. It's part of our accession and loan policy as well as our gift policy. Anything that would be proffered to the city would go through the review process, would come from the Public Art Design Board, and then a recommendation would go to council.
okay? Y'all know what's next.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Pardon?
I said thank you for that.
Yeah, no, you know, I thought we,
You asked, I answered.
you answered, right? Love the heart. Thank you very, and you know, on behalf of all of us, y'all thank us, but we need to thank you, because the Jazz Holiday is something very special to Clearwater. And it's not because of the work that the five of y'all do, but it's because of the work that the volunteers do 365 days a year. And the impact that it has on our youth is without, you can't put a dollar amount on that. So just thinking of the kids that have been experiencing the Jazz Holiday, the different type of music, got their educational musical career started right here, we all can be very proud of that. So thank y'all for those efforts. And this year especially, we had a rain, we had a cancellation, but we had an incredible team that made sure that the next day went on without a hitch. And so I know that y'all join us in thanking the city crew and staff that was working Friday, Saturday morning to make sure that the park was ready for Chicago on Saturday night. So to everybody involved, from us five, from the entire city, thank y'all very much.
Thank
We
you.
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you, Mayor.
And we can put that in. So, we're going to hang it on the back wall up there. But maybe not tonight.
So we'll put it aside?
Yeah, if, normally we put it behind us, but we don't have any room back here, so Gary, if you don't mind. Yeah, turn it, lean
Their
back.
TV, just put it right there.
Oh,
Yeah, just lean that way for the rest of the meeting, everybody
well,
can see it.
but,
Lee, said lean it up here.
Lee, is anybody else coming forward? Well, some people are going to be coming forward. Just be careful when y'all come forward, that y'all don't, not, yeah,
He hasn't called me.
right.
And I have the lock for the last pot. Okay.
Steve, we start on that.
Thank you so much. You're
Thanks again,
welcome.
Lee. Appreciate it. Oh, you
Thank
did.
you, Jay.
So much.
Watch your step now.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
So much for your support.
Just go over and thank you, buddy.
Thanks
for all you do.
All right, Mr. Steve.
How are you?
We'll get dates and number to you. Okay. Again, Lee, thanks.
And they're back, one more time.
Yeah.
What do you want to do with those on the stage? And I don't know, I didn't realize how these would do all this.
That's
Neil, is Neil here? He's hiding in the back. Come on down. Our station manager from 92.5 Maxima, Neil Fernandez, is going to talk to us about the Hispanic Heritage Concert. Neil.
That's quite an introduction. Thank you. Council members, Mr. Mayor, what a pleasure once again to be in your presence. This year marked the 14th year for Hispanic Heritage Festival here at Clearwater. And like many other cultures for Hispanics, it's all about the 3 F's: family, food, and fun. And we are so grateful that the city of Clearwater has opened their doors, their love, and has embraced Hispanics in this capacity to be able to celebrate this amazing Hispanic heritage celebration here in this city. I mean, there are many options, as you know. There's Tampa, there's St. Pete, but Clearwater's the one doing it, and we are forever grateful for that. We could not be a part of this if it wasn't for a tremendous Parks and Recreation Department. People like Chris Cook, Kevin Dunbar are instrumental in finding solutions. Today, more than ever, we are faced with financial challenges and logistical challenges, and they just seem to have a magic wand and solve it all. And without them, we would be lost in the woods. But moreover, Mr. Mayor, I know that this is your last.
Oh, jeez.
This is your last Hispanic Heritage Festival. We sincerely hope that you'll be with us regardless of whether you're in office or not next year to celebrate alongside us. But we wanted to extend a very special thank you to you because you have been so involved and so caring for the time that you've been here about this event and about Hispanics in general. And we are forevermore grateful. So I'm sure I speak for every Hispanic when I say thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fernandez is very kind. It's that you don't often hear somebody speak Spanish with a Southern Greek accent.
That's very
Neil,
true.
please. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you, sir.
Neil, it's good to see you again. Thanks for your kind words.
Thanks for
Yeah. John Dragon and crew. We have the Clearwater Jazz Holiday that celebrated its 40th year, but we're having the Suncoast Jazz Festival celebrating its 29th year on Clearwater Beach this coming November. Well, later in the month.
Yep.
It is November.
It's November already.
Whereas the art of creating jazz music is uniquely American, that originated over 100 years ago and has influenced and enriched not only the American music and culture, but also the music and culture of the world. And whereas the Suncoast Jazz Festival is in its 29th year and brings increased attention to the city of Clearwater and its diverse and vibrant cultural arts, And whereas the Suncoast Jazz Festival continues to feature local, national, and international musicians, and whereas the mission of the Suncoast Jazz Festival and its volunteers is to contribute to the education of local young musicians, to give them performance opportunities, and to foster the preservation of jazz. Now therefore, I, George Credicus, Mayor of the City of Clearwater, on behalf of the Clearwater City Council, do hereby proclaim November 22nd to 24th to be Suncoast Jazz Festival Weekend in Clearwater. Congratulations. Oh, do we have, yeah. Oh, wow, those are neat.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Please go say hello to everybody. The first performance is the 22nd, Joan? The 22nd at the Sheraton Sand Key,
The 22nd at the Sheraton Sand Key,
and all weekend
through
throughout.
Sunday, all weekend long.
Right.
And I'd like to echo what everybody else has said in gratitude to this guy, right?
Oh, wait.
You know, I was wondering if we were going to my 3-year-old grandson is going to go bananas. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks. Thank you so much.
Not to be given to anyone under 3 years old.
Thank you. Thank you for being the mom. It's good. Good stuff. I have one for my but I do have a granddaughter. Do you have extra?
Yeah, be careful there.
I have 2 grandsons. If you don't, then that's okay.
I come every year.
So,
Yeah, I think I remember.
he's bigger than you. She won't know how to do it. Enjoy it.
Okay, hope to see you at the festival.
We will make it. We will make it. Thank you so much.
Did everybody get one?
It's wonderful, we have 2 jazz.
Thank you.
Hit the black button again. If the mayor didn't get one, I'll give it to you. Thanks. Thank you so much for your work. It's so good to see you. Thank you.
I'll be there, thank you.
Hope to
Thanks
see
a
you.
lot.
Thank you at the festival.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't even see she had it on. I
Took my cake. Oh,
It's there.
more concerned about that.
It'll probably be me.
And this is another program that uses volunteers to be successful, so we appreciate the work that they do throughout the year also. Duggan Cooley is the Chief Executive Officer of the Pinellas County Foundation, and he's going to give us just a brief summary of the work that they do throughout the year. Mr. Cooley.
Good evening, Mayor Credicus, City Council members. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you briefly about the Pinellas Community Foundation. I think we have a presentation just brief for you this evening. It's wonderful to be among friends tonight too, and as I go through my brief presentation, I'll let you know some of the things that we also support that are wonderful parts of the City of Clearwater. But a nice reminder for folks, because we get the question, what is a community foundation? And so we're a public charity focused on supporting a specific geography. So we support Pinellas County, and we invite donors and we pool donations to make a lasting difference in our community. We were founded in 1969 through the establishment of the PCF Trust Agreement. We had significant involvement at the beginning of the foundation from the First National Bank of Clearwater and have been headquartered in Clearwater, and our business has been here for 50 years. We today have about $110 million in assets held in 160, now 170 different funds at the foundation. And in our history, we've given charities in our community more than $55 million in support and supported more than 200 charities with those contributions. We give a lot of different services to our community. We have wonderful expertise that we share in helping to make gifts possible to charities. We give community planning advice. We convene partners from around the community to solve problems. We conduct community needs assessment. At the end of my presentation, I'll talk about one that you're involved in. We do organizational plan giving program development. So you had Suncoast Jazz Festival. They had a wonderful donor who helped create an endowment through our foundation, and we have been helping them to grow that this year through gifts and helping them to market their program and grow their program to grow that endowment. That's an example of one of the things that the foundation does. We also assist organizations, private foundations, in converting from being private foundations to being a part of us, a public charity. A great example of that is Senior Citizen Services had been in our community for well over 60 years. When they sold their property at Prospect Towers, they created a private foundation. Last year, that became a donor-advised fund of Pinellas Community Foundation, created more than a $10.5 million fund to benefit senior citizens in Pinellas County. So we help people with that, and we help many people plan their estates and how they want to be charitable in their estate planning. We have a variety of grant programs through the foundation, competitive grant-making programs. You saw the benefit of one of them tonight. Our Clearwater Jazz Holiday is supported both through the Janet A. Huntley Arts Enrichment for Youth Grant, as well as the Ted and Marion Taney Grant for Arts Education and Cultural Outreach. We have many other grant programs besides that as well. So those are two wonderful charities that you have recognized tonight that are partners of ours. Another wonderful example is how we help youth. And we last year started a relationship with a program called Girls on the Run. They do after-school programming, helping young girls develop confidence and leadership skills, both through physical and mental exercise. They were able, with their grant from PCF, to plant 2 new programs, one at Eisenhower Elementary and another at Bel Air Elementary, right here in our community. And I mentioned briefly our ability to convene the community and conduct needs assessments. And because of one of the wonderful people on your staff, Carrie Marsalik, she helped convince our foundation, among others, to go ahead and fund a comprehensive community assessment for older adults in our community. We have just wrapped up the survey of 10,000 citizens over the age of 60 in both Pinellas, and then I use my connections for Pasco County as well, both counties. And we will release the study and its results on November 15th. At Pinellas Realtors Organization, and then the reports will be public. I think one of the greatest things that we find in there is, although our community has needs, especially for our over 60 residents, that about 87% of those residents rate their quality of life in our community as good or excellent. So it tells us great things are happening, some work to be done, but great things are happening, and that is another opportunity through Pinellas Community Foundation. So there's your brief explanation of us and our 50-year history in our community headquartered here in Clearwater. Thank you.
Mr. Cooley, thank you. Welcome back. You didn't give us some contact information in case somebody should want to.
I would be happy to follow up with every one of you with our annual report for this year via email, and then have direct contact information for you. We're happy to help.
But I also meant for the public, if they wanted to reach you, where you let your address and.
I can do that. We're at 17755 US Highway 19 North. We're Suite 150, so we are just north of East Bay Drive on the east side of US 19, Bayside Center, the blue glass buildings there. We have space for the community to convene in as well. And more information about the foundation can be found on our website at pinellascfforcommunityfoundation.org.
Great.
Thank you.
And welcome back to Pinellas County. I know you've been here a
Happy to
little
be
more
back.
than a year, but we
Yes.
appreciate the work that you've been doing.
Thank you very
sir.
much.
Thank you. Council, are there any addition or corrections to the minutes of October the 16th?
Move to be approved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of October the 16th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Anybody from the public wishing to speak to an item not on the agenda? If so, please come forward at this time. We would ask that you would have a card filled out with your name and address. When you speak to us, you would have 3 minutes, and we ask that you just give us your name.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Alex McDonald. I'm here on behalf of any action that this committee might take on Kratom or Kratom. I come to you as a retired Army sergeant who served 8 years in the Army. I was medically retired in January 2017 from injuries I sustained during my service. After that, after 4 surgeries on my spine, I still had to work. I still had to go to school. I still had to take care of my home and my family. Medicine like Percocet, Oxycontin, any of those drugs don't let you do that. They mess you up. They make you, some people say high, some people say messed up, but you just can't function. But I still had to do something for my pain. I still had to do something for myself so I can contribute. And that's where Kratom came in. What Kratom does for me is it makes it so that I can go to school without being messed up. I can drive my car legally because I'm not going to be on any kind of medications that would mess that up. It makes it so that I can take care of my family at home. And because of all of that, because of the past 4 years that I've been taking this this supplement, which is a brewed tea that I take in the mornings, I'm now running for office. I'm running for state representative for District 64. This has turned my life around.
At the start of the meeting, I had asked that you not display either support or opposition to what the speaker was said. I would appreciate if y'all would continue to show that respect to the speaker.
Thank you. It has turned my life around for the better, for the greater, and hopefully for more than just me. Hopefully it can help other people as well. And that's why I stand before you here today. So thank you very much for your time.
Anybody else from the public wishing to speak to an item not on the agenda?
Hi, City Council members. My name is Gary Wilder. I'd like to thank you for your service, first of all. I own a business here in Clearwater, Lizard Juice. We have 10 locations here in the state of Florida. Similar to what his story is. We help hundreds of people daily with this. Police officers, firefighters, paramedics, people that have sustained injuries that use this to improve their life. Personally, my wife was a 4-time cancer survivor that uses this to help her deal with the pain on a daily basis. This is an amazing gift that we have. Not to mention the number of people that we employ. Here in Pinellas County, I employ over 55 people. So there's economic benefits to what we have over here, including what it gives us for gifts. A couple years ago, we spoke in front of Seminole City Council members over there. Now one of their members comes visits us twice a day who had failed back surgeries that now uses our product twice a day that sits on the board for Seminole. This is an amazing product. I think the research shows it. Once you see what you guys have had, I know you guys have been educated what this is. And I just wanted to kind of share that with you guys. So we have this story by hundreds. We have 10 locations. I hear this daily from hundreds of customers, not to mention what I live on a daily basis. So thank you for your service.
Anybody else from the public wishing to speak to an item not on the agenda?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. As you probably have gathered, I'm here to speak about
We need
my
your
name's
name.
Paul Galliano. I'm
Had
sorry.
you given a card in, sir?
Yes, she has a card. And I'm here to speak about the Clearwater Air Park. I'm still one of the few people that can speak to you all. The reasons for that are in a police report that was completed almost a year ago. And in that report, the detectives made it very clear why tenants at the air park are not coming forward and speaking to you all about problems at the air park. I'm not a tenant there right now, so I get the chance to annoy you, I guess. But needless to say, it's a small issue. You know, I read the paper and I keep hoping I'm going to see that something effective has been done about the problems at the air park. It's not a big issue like downtown Clearwater or any of the major things that you all face. And I did notice that on the agenda of a planning meeting that some issues at the air park were being discussed. But the root problems are pretty much still there. It's been almost a year since they were made public in that police report. And I don't know, unless, I still wait to hear that there's going to be something done. I'm here before you all because I went through the city. Pam Aiken helped me identify who I needed to speak to in the city, and eventually I reached you all, and there doesn't seem to be anything effective being done yet. So I'm not going to take up my whole 3 minutes. I'd just like to hope that you all do take this small issue, but a serious one, to the people who are affected by it. So Thank you very much.
Anybody else from the public wishing to speak to an item not on the agenda?
Kathleen Beckman, Clearwater resident. I'd like to take a moment to let you know that at the Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting on Tuesday night this week, members of this advisory board were asked to approve the city recommended name change of Coachman Park to Coachman Commons. And it's my understanding that this name change, Coachman Commons, will be used to refer to the new Imagine Clearwater Park. And so apparently this meeting was advertised, though it's not really clear how. And perhaps someone thought that there may be public input into this suggested name change, but sadly, I was the lone person, aside from board members, in attendance at that meeting Tuesday night. So this entire room was empty. I suggested to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board, and I'll suggest to you now, that you hold off on approving Coachman Commons as the new name for Coachman Park or Imagine Clearwater, and work just a little bit harder to engage Clearwater residents in the naming of this multi-million-dollar park. Council members have said numerous times that this will be a showcase park attracting people from all parts of Clearwater and Pinellas County and beyond. And so if we want to make Imagine Clearwater a park to bring Clearwater together, to instill pride and a sense of community, I believe we need to engage our residents in all aspects of its development. By not engaging residents in simply naming the park, I believe you are missing an opportunity to build that sense of pride and engagement and unity that Clearwater really needs. So perhaps you could develop a Name Our Park contest and solicit input from families and individuals through our schools, the Clearwater Neighborhoods Coalition, Amplify Clearwater, our rec centers or libraries. I'm all for community engagement and inviting our residents to participate in the exciting developments related to Imagine Clearwater. And I would request you try to find effective ways to include our residents in all decisions related to this, beginning with the name. Thanks.
Anybody else from the public wishing to speak to an item not on the agenda?
Hello. My name is Courtney Garrett. I am the founder of Kava Beach Bar. We just opened on Clearwater Beach on Halloween. I wanted to speak today to address possible concerns with Kratom, the establishments in Clearwater. The first concern is the regulated drinking age. I can't speak for all of the Kratom bars in Pinellas County, but most are very cautious to only serve 18 and over. Most kava tenders are well informed and aren't strangers to ask the customer under 30 for identification. If an establishment is serving minors, that specific establishment should be reprimanded accordingly, not punish responsible establishments. My establishment is a 24/7 lounge where people come from all walks of life to join in our community, to decompress after a long day of work, without feeling like their only option is to go home or an alcohol bar. We have a vegan menu, a variety of CBD products, CBD oil for dogs, ice cream, hammocks to lay in, pool table, music, darts, as well as a retired licensed mental health counselor that comes in once a week to help people discuss their feelings and stress level. My establishment does not seek to harm anyone, but rather give them a safe place to relax with like-minded people that try to better their lives and decompress. My last point is in regards to finances. Kratom makes up approximately 60% of the income for these businesses. I know of 7 Kratom bars in Clearwater, over 30 in Pinellas County and growing. You ban Kratom in Clearwater, the customer base is going to bring their money and attention to St. Pete and Largo, as well as all these businesses going belly up in Clearwater. This plant is cousin to the coffee plant. There is 4 strains: the mind, body, energy, and relaxation. This is no different than getting a cup of coffee in the morning. Please make stipulations. Please do not ban Kratom in Clearwater. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else from the public wishing to speak to an item not on the agenda?
Hi, I'm Arnie Bellini, recent new member of the Clearwater community. Have lived in the Tampa Bay area for over 40 years. I'm a local high-tech entrepreneur, have employed over 1,200 people in the area, and I can just say that regarding Kratom, it has helped so many employees, so many of my family members to overcome heroin addictions. It is an amazing natural substance that has been used for centuries. It was originally brought over here by Vietnam veterans, actually. And in its pure form and in brewed form, it is an amazing, amazing gift from our God's green earth. So I would just encourage you to really learn about it. My wife and I have put together a donor-advised fund. We are working to help with the research on Kratom, and this is something that needs to be dealt with at a state level, and it needs to be first understood before adjudicated upon and before it is banned. I want to also say that I am so happy to have just purchased land over here, and that every time that I drive over here from Tampa, there's this huge smile that comes over my face. My wife and I have lived in this area. My wife grew up in Clearwater. We always have fond memories of going to the Palm Pavilion, and it was at times where my wife could only afford just the corn dog and the Coke, not the hamburger. But it has been a pleasure living here, and I wanted to thank each and every one of you because I looked up your biographies before I came up to speak, and you've all served very distinguished terms here for the city, and my wife and I look forward to dedicating our time, talent, and treasure to help make this community an even better one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak?
Fellow distinguished members of the City Council and all the good people out there.
Have you filled out a card, sir?
Yes, sir, I sure have.
Thank you.
As you can see from the hat, I'm a Vietnam veteran.
Sir, you need to speak to the microphone so that it gets picked up.
Okay.
And we need to have your name.
Pastor Lawrence Nelson McAlexander, a.k.a. Pastor Mac for short. And what I was going to say is that my hat tells you I'm a Vietnam veteran. What it doesn't tell you is I've been a pastor for 41 years.
Again, sir, I apologize,
Counselor
but
for
we
45.
cannot hear you, and the television audience does not hear you if you're not speaking.
Oh,
into
man,
the
am I on
mic.
TV too?
Yes, sir.
How about that? All right, well, I'm here to tell you a story you're not going to believe. And it comes up with a request also, so it has the means justify the ends. When I was first moved into this town about 6 years ago, I moved to the south side down in St. Petersburg. And my wife and I were there. We were comfortable, having a good time. I came here to retire from the pulpit and live where I wanted to live for the rest of my life. Well, my wife has grand mal seizures. And she had a grand mal seizure. And so I called the paramedics. And so who should show up before the paramedics get there? The police. Go figure. So anyway, the police officer tells me to go stand outside. I'm wondering, what for? I'm holding my wife down on the living room floor with a ginger from upstairs, a friend of ours. I said, stand outside the door. I want you to make sure nothing, that you're my witness and nothing wrong is going on in here. Well, the police officer comes out after 5 minutes and puts me in handcuffs for allegedly domestic violence, just because I'm holding my wife down. He puts on the arrest report that I abused my wife after a night of smoking crack cocaine and drinking alcohol, which is a total lie. And what is all this happening for? Well, I look in the bottom right-hand corner of the arrest record, and it says he gets paid $75 for arresting me. That's his motivation. So that's my first point. This is totally wrong. For you to put a bounty out to arrest someone, there's bad apples in every barrel. And you got a bad apple like that. I actually had a police officer arrest me one time. He says, one more arrest and I can get that 55-inch TV I've been looking for. Flat screen TV I've been looking for. So anyway, sometimes the Lord teaches it through suffering. And that's what got me to doing what I am today. I'm the founder of the Veterans Effort to Stop Suicides Foundation, and it's my heart's passion to reduce suicides in this country by half within 6 years, and to reduce military Vietnam veteran suicides by 50% within 6 months by getting legislation on Trump's desk that says for all remaining Vietnam veterans, we're going to give them 100% compensation from the military if their income level is under $13,000 a year. Now, is there anybody in here who couldn't vote for that? We've been waiting 50 years for the benefits that we should have, and they keep turning
Again,
us down.
sir.
My apologies. But the point
Thank you, sir. Your
is
time
that been thousands of people.
Your time is up, sir.
Thank you so
very
much.
Thank you.
Pastor Mack, at your service.
Anybody else from the public wishing to speak to an item not on the agenda? If not,
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eric Elin. I live on Drew Street in Clearwater. Thank you to the mayor, to the city council, and the rest of the city members for allowing me to speak tonight. I'd also like to thank the director of solid waste, Mr. Earl Gloucester, Mr. Johnson, and Ms. Sheridan Boyle, the sustainability coordinator of Clearwater, for speaking with me and for the help directing me in my capstone project. I am a student at St. Petersburg College in the Public Policy and Administration Baccalaureate program and will be graduating in about a month. I am just finishing up my final capstone project in Professor Cronschnabel's class, and this is my second time briefly presenting to the council. The project is to help solve the issue of improper recycling by citizens or businesses and turn it into proper recycling techniques within the city of Clearwater, Florida. My 8 improper recycling violations idea was to create a pamphlet, a mailer, or use it through social media to help the public know the no-nos of recycling. Throughout the process of researching, I hope to suggest other ways of implementing other possible techniques that the city could use to improve their waste management and recycling processes. I wanted to pursue this issue more after constantly seeing garbage, yard waste, cruddy and dirty cans, and other improper items being thrown into the blue recycling bins at my apartment complex. I also constantly see recyclables thrown into the trash instead of the blue recycling bins. Some may see it as weird, but I do just about daily check the bins for items that shouldn't be thrown into the bins and sort them to their proper place. It's more than just a pet peeve of mine, and I do find it important to recycle, especially recycling properly. Not only is it good for the environment, but it is great for the city of Clearwater and its recycling and waste processing, its citizens, its beautiful scenery, its tourism industry. Recycling is a simple step we can all participate in, and it only takes a few minutes of your day to recycle. The mission of this capstone project will be to create a more respectful, caring, ethical, and efficient society for all. Small steps towards a goal of 100% recyclable future would be ideal for the survival of the planet. Humans cannot continue wasting everything we use or using an item just once and tossing it into a garbage container. About 30% of materials sent to Florida recycling facilities are not recyclable at curbside. The contaminants can clog machines and shut down operations of a processing facility and ruin full loads of good recyclables. By eliminating the 30% of contaminated materials in curbside recycling bins, the state could save over $100 million in recycling costs per year. Throughout the research for this capstone project, I have come to realize that recycling in Florida and the rest of the country is still very lackluster, and we have a lot of work to do. I could list infinite recommendations to increase better recycling, and collaboration is one of the main issues that we need to go after. As the saying from the 1970s goes, reduce, reuse, recycle.
thank you, sir. Thank you. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak to an item not on the agenda? If not, I will close public comment. I know that
Hello, my name is Chandler Burke. I also have 4 kava bars in the, here in Florida, 2 of which are in Pinellas County. We have 40 employees, and we have a community that consists of truly like thousands of people here in Pinellas County because of how many kava bars there are. And I'm gonna keep this brief. I've got a binder. This has testimonials on how Kratom has positively impacted a lot of our customers' lives. As you can see, I have hundreds here, and a lot of them are Clearwater residents. And so if maybe you guys could take the time to read and just learn a little bit about kratom before possibly banning, that would be great. It'd be very appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I leave?
Anybody else from the public wishing to speak to an item not on the agenda? I will close public comment. I know that there's several of y'all out there who have come thinking that we were going to be discussing kratom. That was false information. I don't know how it got out there. We apologize, but we appreciate your being here. If you wanted to speak but did not, if you want to stand and the clerk will make a note of how many were here, that would be fine. Otherwise, we will continue on with our business. Thank you very much.
Wow. These are all in favor
In
or
favor.
good use of kratom?
In favor of kratom, okay?
There are any negatives here?
Jay, don't
Okay.
start. Okay, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for cooperating. Appreciate that.
How did they get the information?
Somebody put out that it was on the agenda. No, see, the internet, Jay. Wow. We've gotten we've got over 100 letters because somebody put out false information. The consent agenda is items 7.1 through 7.14. Anybody from the public or council wishing to pull an item off the consent agenda? Yeah, I know.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull 7.14.
7.14.
Move approval of agenda items, the consent agenda 7.1 through 7.13.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda, items 7.1 through 7.13. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Opposed,
no. Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Maxwell, agenda item 7.14.
Approve a legal
Oh, I'm
services.
sorry, Ms. Aiken, I guess that's you.
Approve a legal services agreement with J.
Sorry.
Daniel Esquire of Trask Daniel LLP for representation of the Community Development Board, Building and Flood Board of Adjustment and Appeals, and Nuisance Abatement Board, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Any questions of staff on agenda item 7.14? Anybody from the public wishing to speak to agenda item 7.14?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm Bill Johnson. I did submit a card. When I observed this on the agenda, I thought it would be a good time to raise a couple of procedural issues with the Community Development Board process. So I asked for a public records request for documents detailing the performance expectations of the current attorney on their contract. I also asked for a copy of documents related to CDB board members or city staff giving performance ratings on the subject attorney under the current services agreement. I believe those are basic management practices for a service client. And I did, as you will recall, there was a very long Community Development Board meeting on June 25th, the Edgewater Drive project that went on for 7 hours and proved to be so ineffective process that the Community Development Board in July decided to develop new guidelines for public testimony. So why did this happen?
Mr. Johnson, with all due respect, sir, we're talking about a contract here, not the action of the Community Development Board.
Okay. The bottom line is I suggest that you table this item and revise it to include performance expectations and the statement that there will be a performance ratings by the Community Development Board members so that you can more appropriately align the services with the expectations of the board members and also the service to the members of the public. The observation that I had was that the attorney perhaps may not be really familiar with the code that he's trying to assist the board in administering, as evidenced by the fact that the decision there was very divided, but that did not come to the attorney for try to get some guidance as understand that both sides would understand what was in the process. So my recommendation again is to table this or defer this until the process can be reviewed to ensure that the expectations of the board's attorney are consistent with the needs of the public. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak to agenda item 7.14? Motion?
I move to approve agenda item 714.
I'm sorry.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve agenda item 7.14. Comments, council? Mr. Hamilton.
A question as much as a comment of Ms. Aiken. You're familiar with the attorney in question. You have worked with him before and for a number of years. Does one controversial decision relegate him to be an ineffective counsel for the Community Development Board?
No, sir, of course not. But I'll also point out that his job is to advise the board on procedural issues and to help them through that process. He does not interpret the code for them. That is something that they do. So I believe that he does do that on a regular basis, and he is assisting them with procedural rewrites.
Mr. Albrecht.
And I remember Jay from being on the CDB. I thought he always did a good job representing us. And any questions we had procedurally, yet we had the final say-so on what we, whether we approved something or didn't approve it. But I thought he was good counsel for us at that time, and I think this approval of the legal services agreement is, I would go with it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Publix.
And so the client, the city has, or the CDB has their attorney representative, and then the opposing team has their attorney, or they should have attorney if they're going to do something, or try to do something such as what happened. I mean, it's not our necessary, wouldn't it be their responsibility and job to interpret the code and identify it? I mean, it's a...
The city is represented by an assistant city attorney that works with the staff. The board attorney advises them procedural matters and other matters that they need to make decisions on. We do not provide representation for the public. The public can either provide their own attorney or they can be self-represented, as they are many times.
Mr. Conda.
I did not hear a recording of the meeting yet, but I do think that, and I wouldn't hold up the vote on this matter, but I would recommend to the Community Development Board that they do include language in their bylaws, organizational plan to be able, from a managerial point of view, to find out how well, what performance guidelines they ought to be looking at for their attorney and anyone else who works for them.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve agenda item 7.14. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 8.1.
Provide direction on the proposed second amendment to an existing development agreement between Trip Rock Clearwater LLC and MEMPC Properties, Inc., as assigned by Allenek Properties, Anco Holdings LLC, Nakana Holdings LLC, the property owners, and the City of Clearwater for property located at 401, 411, 421, 425, and 431 South Gulfview Boulevard, which adds Exhibit A-1 to provide an updated legal description to include parcel 07-29-15-52380-000-0780 to the subject site and replaces Exhibit B with Exhibit B-1 to provide new conceptual site plans and elevations, updates Exhibits C and D regarding any references to the legal description and proposed number of overall hotel units, adds Exhibit E, which provides specific language germane to the pedestrian bridge regarding construction and maintenance, and sets a new date by which time site plan approval must be obtained, and confirm a second public hearing in City Council chambers before City Council on November 21st, 2019 at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as may be heard. Mr. Perry.
Thank you. Mark Perry, Planning and Development. If it's okay, I'll be brief. This is the second amendment to an existing development agreement. The first amendment came through to increase the height of the building a few years ago from 140 feet to 150 feet. This second amendment is required because of the addition of the Post Corner Pizza parcel. The proposal is for a 248-unit hotel. That's an increase from 227 total units. The number of units that have been allocated to the project, 100 units from the reserve, that has not changed. It's not increasing. There are no more units left in the reserve to allocate anyway. The increase in the total number of units is generated solely by the 50 units per acre of the parcel coming in. So what you'll see in the development agreement are reflections of that, the increase from 227 units to 248, an increase in the required number of parking, of course, parking spaces. The overall density actually gets reduced from 114 units to the acre to 103 units to the acre. You'll see a provision for a pedestrian bridge which will span between the subject site and the Opal Sand site to the west. And there will also be a requirement to update and amend the flexible development approval for that project as well, since the pedestrian bridge affects that project. At the work session on Monday, I think, Mayor, you had a couple of points. You wanted to better define the number of parking spaces above and beyond that is otherwise required by the hotel. The applicant has told me that they can commit to providing a minimum of 230 parking spaces that will be available to the public. You also wanted to make sure that the pedestrian bridge wouldn't directly link to the public right-of-way. I have some images. They're from your packet. I'm more than happy to put some up, but the only way to access the public right-of-way from the pedestrian bridge is to actually go through each respective building. For the subject site, which is kind of what this image is showing, you'd go into their building. There are elevators that you would then take down, and then you can get out of the building onto the right-of-way. For the Opal Sands across the way, you'd go through their building, and again, if you wanted to get out to the public right-of-way, you'd have to go through their building. For the next council meeting, you'll see those changes reflected in your packet in the development agreement. I've also just been informed since Monday that the applicant is closed on the Post Corner Pizza site. So one minor change that you'll see is I'm going to update the memo and other documents to show the change of ownership. So instead of having two owners listed, you'll just see the one owner. So one recital, one of the whereases will change to reflect that ownership, and another recital clause will actually be removed altogether. So if you notice those changes, that's the reason for it. If there are any questions, I'd like to try to answer them.
Any questions, council? Okay. So just again, just to clarify, there are no plans to go from the pedestrian bridge to the sidewalk?
There's no plans, and really there's no way to do it.
That's what I want to hear. Okay. We're just giving direction here, so we're basically, okay.
Direction, but you're also going to approve the hearing.
You're setting the hearing.
Okay. Does the applicant want to speak?
Yes, Mayor, council members, Katie Cole with the law firm of Hill Ward Henderson, representing Tri-Prop Clearwater, the owner of the property, and recently acquired the Post Corner property as well. Mark Walsh, the owner of Ocean Properties that operates and owns Opal Sands, Sand Pearl, and this property is here. And Mark, do you want to say a few words or no? But we're really excited about this opportunity, and especially the bridge to connect the Opal Sands and this proposed hotel. It opens the door for a lot of opportunities on the beach with respect to the group sales business and the conventions that could be potentially hosted on South Clearwater Beach. And so we appreciate your consideration of that. We did watch Monday's work session, and the mayor and I have talked before about the publicly accessible spaces. The only reason we didn't want to commit to all of the spaces is because the engineering for the parking garage has not yet been finalized, and so if there were any fluctuation based on the engineering, we did not want to overcommit, but we are comfortable committing to the 230. So we're happy to answer any questions or respond to any other comments that the public may have.
Very good. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Anybody from the public wishing to speak to agenda item 8.1?
Good evening, Bill Johnson. I did submit a card on this one again. I think there's a possible unique opportunity with this project, and that is the looking at the sidewalks on the backside of Coronado, which we have said for a long time we wish they were a little wider with the palm trees and the lights, and they're all in there. Beach by Design actually highly recommends a 10-foot pedestrian path as the key to establishing pedestrian-friendly place in a non-residential environment. We don't have that in very many places, and I think this would be something to try to do. This property will be adding 121 rooms, and so there'll be more people on those sidewalks, and I think a wider sidewalk would actually be beneficial to a project. I understand that there's legal issues and liability and the property lines and all of that stuff, but if there's a possible way to do it, this would be the perfect location to start working on that, a do-over on Coronado. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I've passed on the comment to their representative as well.
Anybody else from the public wishing to speak to agenda item 8.1?
Hello, good afternoon, or good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, and so forth. My name is Michael Frangides. I'm here with my business partner, my sister Mia Busikas tonight. We are the neighbors of Post Corner Pizza at 437 South Guffey Boulevard. We are happy to see the development and progress of the adjacent property. We are sad to see a landmark like Post Corner go. Definitely will miss that place, but we're also happy to see and understand that they're looking to build an inside restaurant cafe in the new building. So I'm happy to hear that news. One of my concerns as the neighbor is having a bridge going across the road or some type of walkway 4 levels up from what I saw from the rendering. It's a concern for our guests that are occupying our building, and I'm afraid that it's going to ruin the visibility or the vista. That's the reason they go there, to see the sunset and to see the view. So that's one of my concerns, that I'm not saying that I'm opposed to it, but I have questions about that, the height of it and what's going to be the rendering of it, and if, or could it be moved farther to the north side, not to ruin the view of our guests that are in that building. So that's my concerns. Thank you.
Which is your property?
437 South Gulfview. We're directly to the south of Post Corner Pizza, which is now called Salty's Bar and Grill.
Salty, okay.
Any questions?
No.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak to agenda item 8.1? Staff? Do you have anything else to say?
No, unless there are any questions.
Do we have any questions? Okay. Ms. Cole, do you have anything further to? Okay. Any comment, well, a motion to approve and set the hearing? It's your turn.
Motion, motion to approve and set the hearing.
For November 21st at 6 o'clock.
November 21st at 6 o'clock.
A second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve agenda item 8.1 and confirm a public hearing on November the 21st, beginning at 6 o'clock or as soon thereafter as may be heard. Comments, council? Mr. Hamilton?
Well, I mean, my only comment is, this is, given the track record of Ocean Properties, this is going to be a quality development. But, the way it's oriented, and we as a city years ago spent $40+ million to create Beach Walk with nice, wide pedestrian sidewalks and areas. And even to this day, when you drive Coronado, there's very minimal pedestrian activity because everybody is out walking on Beach Walk, which is exactly what we designed it to be. So I am not, I don't have the same concern of a 10-foot sidewalk on Coronado because, I mean, I'm out there every day on that beach, and I do travel to the south end, and there's very minimal pedestrian traffic on Coronado because everybody is out on the beach walk looking at the beach itself and the beautiful vista and amenity that we've created out there. So.
Any other comments, council? Okay. Council, I, as you'll recall, when we had the discussion on the Hyatt, I was concerned that we were going to get a second request for a pedestrian bridge, and here's our second request. This one is a little different, and with all due respect to Salty's, the view there isn't the same as it is at the Hyatt. And I'm not sure, because of the way the buildings are situated with Opal Sands and the 440 building, that you get a view of the sunset that will be disturbed. Also, you're not guaranteed a view, and so we can't use that as a judgment to deny or approve a request. I think that this one, when you drive when you drive Gulfview, it is set back far enough that it's not really going to be a detriment to Beach Walk and the experience. So I think that staff has been given proper guidance to go forward with this. Regarding the sidewalk question, where's Chuck? Did we not have this similar discussion on one other property about the sidewalk being the width of the sidewalk? And unfortunately, if we have one segment of Coronado at 10 feet and another segment at 4 feet and then another segment at 6 feet, that's not going to really create a walking experience like we have at Beach Walk. So I think what we need more than anything is consistency. And if y'all will work with staff with the developer to make sure that we have consistency as best as we can with the other adjacent properties, that would be helpful. So motion has been made and seconded to approve the second hearing on November the 21st after 6 o'clock. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 9.1, Ms. Aiken.
Ordinance number 9298-19, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real property located generally north of Lakeview Road, south of Druid Road, east of South Duncan Avenue, and west of South Hercules Avenue, whose post office address is 1819 Audubon Street, Clearwater, Florida 33764, together with certain portion of Audubon Street right-of-way into the corporate limits of the city, and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said additions, providing an effective date.
Move to approve, adopt ordinance 9298-19 on third reading.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9298-19 on third reading. Anybody from the public to speak to this motion? Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 9.2.
Ordinance
Call.
number 9299-19, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use elements of the comprehensive plan of the city to designate the land use for certain real property located generally north of Lakeview Road, south of Druid Road, east of South Duncan Avenue, and west of South Hercules Avenue, whose post office address is 1819 Audubon Street, Clearwater, Florida 33764, upon annexation to the City of Clearwater Residential Low RL, providing an effective date.
I move that we adopt ordinance 9299-19 on second reading.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9299-19 on second reading. Anybody from the public to speak to this motion? Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 9.3, Ms. Aiken.
Ordinance number 9319-19, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by zoning certain real property located generally north of Lakeview Road, south of Druid Road, and east of South Duncan Avenue, and west of South Hercules Avenue, whose post office address is 1819 Audubon Street, Clearwater, Florida 33764, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as low medium density residential, LMDR, providing an effective date.
I move to adopt ordinance 9300-19 on second reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9300-19 on second reading. Anybody from the public speak to this motion? Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 9.4, Ms. Call.
Ordinance number 9308-19, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, making an amendment to the Community Development Code Appendix B, US 19 Zoning District and Development Standards, Section B-303, Table 2, to expand the geographic area where self-storage warehouse use with required retail, restaurant, and/or office uses is permitted in the regional center subdistrict of the US 19 zoning district to include a certain parcel with frontage of Seville Boulevard, subject to the FLS approval, certifying consistency with the city's comprehensive plan and proper advertisement, providing for severability and providing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to move adoption of ordinance 9308-19 on second reading.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9308-19 on second reading. Anybody from the public to speak to this motion? Comments, council? Mr. Pogles, you may be happy, but I recall an article that we saw earlier in the week that there may be too many storage units, being built throughout the country and other cities, and as I voted against it the last time, I will be voting against it this time. Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. No. Motion carries 4-1 with Creticus in opposition. Agenda item 9.5. Ms. Aiken.
Ordinance number 9309-19, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real property located on the north side of Palmetto Street, approximately 1,080 feet west of North Belcher Road, whose post office address is 2108 Palmetto Street, Clearwater, Florida, 33765, into the corporate limits of the city and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said addition, providing an effective date.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt ordinance 9309-19 on second reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9309-19 on second reading. Anybody from the public speak to this motion? Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 9.6, Ms. Call.
Ordinance number 9310-19, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan of the city to designate the land use for certain real property located on the north side of Palmetto Street, approximately 1,080 feet west of North Belcher Road, whose post office address is 2108 Palmetto Street, Clearwater, Florida, 33765, upon annexation to the City of Clearwater as Industrial Limited, IL, providing an effective date.
I move that we adopt ordinance 9310-19 on second reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9310-19 on second reading. Anybody from the public speak to this motion? Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 9.7, Ms. Aiken.
I do not have 9311. Let me just, can you take that one?
I can do that. Ordinance number 9311-19, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by zoning certain real property located on the north side of Palmetto Street, approximately 1,080 feet west of North Belcher Road, whose post office address is 2108 Palmetto Street, Clearwater, Florida, 33765, upon annexation to the City of Clearwater as Industrial Research and Technology, IRT, providing an effective date.
I move to adopt ordinance 9311-19 on second reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9311-19 on second reading. Anybody from the public speak to this motion? Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 9.8.
Ordinance number 9312-19, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real property located generally on the east side of West Virginia Lane, approximately 865 feet south of State Road 590, whose post office address is 1421 West Virginia Lane, Clearwater, Florida, 33759, into the corporate limits of the city and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said addition, providing an effective date.
I move to adopt ordinance 9312-19 on second reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9312-19 on second reading. Anybody from the public speak to this motion? Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Call.
Ordinance number 9313-19, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan of the city to designate the land use for certain real property located generally on the east side of West Virginia Lane, approximately 865 feet south of State Road 590, whose post office address is 1421 West Virginia Lane, Clearwater, Florida, 33759, upon annexation to the City of Clearwater's residential low RL, providing an effective date.
I move to adopt ordinance 9313-19 on second reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9313-19 on second reading. Excuse me. Anybody from the public to speak to this motion? Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 9.10, Ms. Aiken.
Ordinance number 9314-19, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by zoning certain real property located generally on the east side of West Virginia Lane, approximately 865 feet south of State Road 590, whose post office address is 1421 West Virginia Lane, Clearwater, Florida, 33759. Upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as low medium density residential, LMDR, providing an effective date.
I move that we adopt ordinance 9314-19 on second reading.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9314-19 on second reading. Anybody from the public to speak to this motion? Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 9.11, Ms. Call.
Ordinance number 9318-19, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real property located on the east side of East Drive, approximately 223 feet south of Sunset Point Road, whose post office address is 1861 East Drive, Clearwater, Florida, 33755, into the corporate limits of the city and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said addition, providing an effective date.
I move to adopt ordinance 9318-19 on second reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9318-19 on second reading. Anybody from the public to speak to this motion? Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 9.12, Ms. Aiken.
Ordinance number 9319-19, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan of the city to designate the land use for certain real property located on the east side of East Drive, approximately 223 feet south of Sunset Point Road, whose post office address is 1861 East Drive, Clearwater, Florida 33755, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as a residential low RL, providing an effective date.
I move to adopt ordinance 9319-19 on second reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9319-19 on second reading. Anybody from the public to speak to this motion? Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 9.13, Ms. Call.
Ordinance number 9320-19, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by zoning certain real property located on the east side of East Drive, approximately 223 feet south of Sunset Point Road, whose post office address is 1861 East Drive, Clearwater, Florida 33755, upon annexation to the City of Clearwater as low-medium density residential LMDR, providing an effective date.
Move to adopt ordinance 9320-19 on second reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9320-19 on second reading. Anybody from the public to speak to this motion? Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 10.1, Mr. Maxwell.
Establish a sister city's relationship with Bourges, France, and adopt resolution 19-35. Mr. Hubbard.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City staff, and citizens. My name is Christopher Hubbard. I'm the Cultural Affairs Coordinator for the City of Clearwater. The resolution you have before you this evening is to adopt a resolution starting a Sister Cities Partnership Agreement with the City of Bourges, France. Following from this, per protocol with the Sister Cities International Organization, city staff would then initiate a partnership agreement that establishes the terms of the exchange relationship with Bourges. That would include any exchanges, be it on the college, high school, or middle school level, as well as official exchanges on a 5-year basis. It would also establish the terms of our agreement with them as far as the focuses of our Sister Cities partnership, including economics, tourism, and education. Following this, I can entertain any questions that you may have.
Any questions of staff on agenda item 10.1?
Well,
Mr. Hamilton?
I think kind of give the background of why Bourges, France approached us about
Absolutely, sir. In Bourges, which is a city that is about 2 hours south of Paris, was founded the Monin Syrup Corporation in 1912. They were looking for a new headquarters that would service the North and South American continents. They came here to Clearwater, which was accessible to land, air, and sea distribution. The CEO of the corporation right now said, and the beach access didn't hurt anything either. It was established in 1996, currently employs hundreds of employees and serves over 75,000 restaurants here in North America. This resolution is approved unanimously by our Sister Cities Advisory Board as well as the Clearwater Sister Cities, Inc. Citizens Volunteer Board and is heavily backed by the City of Bourges, France, as well as the Monin Syrup Corporation.
Very good. Any other questions? Mr. Kundo.
How many, you said employs hundreds of people. How many here in Clearwater does it employ?
Here in the city, residents themselves?
No, how many employees of the,
Oh, no, hundreds in here that work at the American plant, yes. So worldwide, many more than that.
Any other questions, council? Anybody from the public to speak to agenda item 10.1?
I would move approval of agenda item 10.1.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve agenda item 10.1. Comments, council? Mr. Hamilton?
Yes, sir. We had, as Chris alluded to, we had a meeting today of the Sister Cities Advisory Board, and I was instructed to pass along the message that we enthusiastically approve and recommend this resolution.
Okay. Where's your little thing to
Oh, okay.
Any other comments, council?
No.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Aiken.
Thank you.
Resolution number 19-35, a resolution of the City of Clearwater, Florida, establishing a sister cities relationship with Bourges, France, providing an effective date.
I move to approve agenda item 10.2.
Adopt resolution.
Resolution.
Oh,
Motion's,
Motion to adopt
Second.
resolution 19-35.
motion's been made and seconded to adopt resolution 19-35. Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 10.2, Ms. Call.
Amend the Clearwater Code of Ordinances, Section 2.082, changing the composition of the Airport Advisory Board to allow ex officio members and pass ordinance 9350-19 on first reading. Council members, as discussed at the work session, the code change is just to allow an ex officio member when technical expertise is not available locally. It is permissive and not required.
Any questions of staff? Anybody from the public to speak to agenda item 10.2?
move approval of agenda item 10.2?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve agenda item 10.2. Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Aiken.
Ordinance number 9350-19, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending Section 2.082 Clearwater Code of Ordinances, changing the composition of the Air Park Advisory Board to allow ex officio members, providing an effective date.
I move to pass ordinance 9350-19 on first reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to pass ordinance 9350-19 on first reading. Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 10.3, Ms. Call.
Approve the 2020 state legislative agenda. Council members, in your agenda pack, I provided the agenda as recommended for changes at the work session. I added 2 bullets. The first one, or rather the second to the last, is increased funding for mental health services. The last bullet is grants municipalities authority to regulate the length of time vessels may moor in local waterways. And then under issues to oppose, I changed the 4th bullet to oppose weakening existing laws related to oil drilling. Are there any questions?
It's not a question as much as and I try not to be overly tweaking of it, but should it say legislation that weakens existing laws related to offshore oil drilling? Because to just say weaken, it doesn't flow from the first sentence. So.
Okay.
Grammatically.
Easy.
Just grammatically. It was just.
A Scrivener's error.
And the same
You probably
with
would have fixed that
imposed,
before
I
you
would have
sent
fixed it.
anyways.
and I think the last one, imposed consolidation, other including imposed, does that need to be?
No, I think that one's fine. We're opposing legislation that
Okay. Okay.
but if I change the tense, obviously, I will correct the
Okay.
tense to everything else, so that's.
Anybody from the public to speak to agenda item 10.3? Motion?
Move approval of agenda item 10.3.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve agenda item 10.3. Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 10.4, Ms. Aiken?
Yes, sir. This item is the report out of the Charter Review Committee. Mr. Menino, who is chairman, will be doing that report out. I would like to point out that if you look in the audience, that you will see, I believe, 10 of the Charter Review Committee members here. This has been an extremely committed, active, busy group. This is my 7th Charter Review Committee, so I know whereof I speak. They have just been amazing to work with. We have enjoyed working with them, and now to the report.
Thank you. And on that note, I am going to request, if you do not mind, if it is appropriate for them to join me up here. They have worked hard and been committed since February, so I think they deserve to stand up here with me if you guys don't mind. Come on, come on. My only request is that they didn't outdress me, but apparently some didn't listen to that memo, so I apologize for that. Yeah. Thank you, Mayor, Council, staff. Thank you for your commitment to serve our great city. It is greatly appreciated. Would like to start out by commending the council on appointing such a great membership to this committee. Besides the obvious brains and beauty, you did an amazing job as it's a diverse group of varying educational backgrounds, life experiences, cultures, age, and geographic locations as they represented the entirety of our city, and I think that was very important to mention. Though we did have differences throughout the process, it was very enjoyable, but we did share 2 key ingredients, and that was this group had ridiculous passion for the betterment of our community, and they have an extreme amount of compassion for all the citizens in our community to call this a great town home. So I wanted to make sure we mention that. On behalf of the committee and myself, we definitely want to give a sincere thank you to Pam, to Rosemarie, to Nicole, and Ian is probably out working sound somewhere. But please know that your guidance, your constant patience that was much needed at time, the sense of humor obviously was needed throughout that process, but your consistent support throughout the entire process is greatly appreciated by all. So I know on behalf of this committee, thank you guys so much. Out of respect to the committee members, and we had a particular choice of wording that we wanted to present on this summary, I want to make sure that the summary report is accurately and genuinely reflected. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read from it. That way I do not leave anything out, forget anything, or make anybody upset, because we would not want to do this on such a great evening. So the Charter Review Committee is composed of 13 citizen volunteers appointed by City Council. The committee has met on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday since February 11th, 2019, and has reviewed every section of the current charter, including 2 issues City Council requested the committee to pay particular attention to. The committee spent 8 meetings reviewing and discussing districting and voting systems, which included 2 presentations from Dr. Scott Payne of the Florida League of Cities and demographic information from city staff. A public meeting was held on July 10th, at which the public was invited to provide input regarding the city's form of representation and election and alternatives. After much deliberation and discussion, the committee decided not to amend the city's current form of representation. This was not a unanimous decision. The committee could not come to an agreement on district representation. The committee also spent considerable time discussing council member salaries. There was consensus not to recommend increasing the salaries based on the current duties outlined in our existing charter. The following is a summary of the committee's recommendations. Article 2, Legislative Power, Section 2.01. Increase the number of council members to 7, including the mayor and all elected at large. Include language requiring council to establish annual measurable goals and priorities for the city manager. Include language requiring each council to evaluate the city manager based on specific criteria designated by council. Include language that increases the amount of property from a ½ acre currently to 5 acres that can be donated or sold for less than fair market value for workforce or affordable housing, and uneconomic remainders of land to be sold to an abutting property owner without a bid requirement. Remove language pertaining to negotiating a lease with the Clearwater Marine Aquarium as it is no longer pertinent. Include language to research and report the environmental impacts of all decisions with the goal of reducing our energy consumption, waste generation, our dependence on fossil fuels, and production of greenhouse gases. The intent is to include such a statement in agenda items. Section 2.06, increase the time frame present and former council members may hold any compensated appointed city office or employment to 2 years after the expiration of the term for which the council member was elected, to be consistent with state laws. Section 3.03, require the city manager to present an annual comprehensive report on the financial condition and administration activities of the city at the first council meeting in November instead of September, and to include the status of established goals and priorities. Section 7.02, increase the time between when the charter is reviewed to 8 years. Outside of charter recommendations, this last item was very important, and we did hear this throughout the city and through many residents, and we are making one additional recommendation on behalf of the committee. The committee recommends council consider instituting an independent ombudsman to evaluate disputed proposed developments, educate the residents on process and issues, and potentially represent the residents where and when appropriate. And that is the entire work since February 11th, summed up in one quick report, so thank you for your time.
Thank you all. Why don't we introduce each of the members of the committee who are present? Just,
Go ahead.
You need to come up, though, because otherwise your voice isn't going to be heard.
You want to be careful giving this one a microphone,
No,
because I think we might be pushed for time, right? But
Only-
she always carries candy, so you know.
Only name, only name, only name.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Kathleen Agnew, and I live in the countryside area. Am I supposed to say something else?
That's it? Nope.
Okay, that's it, okay, cool.
We'll give you the hook.
Kelly, Sunset Point and Highland area.
Mike Anderson, Island Estates.
Marilyn Kagan, Coachman area.
Bruce Rector, I live at Clearwater Point.
Marita Lynch, Live Oak neighborhood.
David Lillison from downtown Clearwater.
Good evening, I'm Sean Schrader, I'm from the Brook Hill Neighborhood Association.
My name is Mike Reardon, I live in Hillcrest.
Great. Thank you very much. We appreciate all the work that y'all have done and the hours that y'all put in. Thank you. Ms. Aiken.
I know that a number of the members did want to make comments. Are you going to allow public comments on this?
Well, give us some guidance, because they spoke as a committee.
They did.
And that was the recommendation of the committee. Are you saying that each one of them are filing a minority report in effect?
Well, we did talk about that, and no, they are not filing a minority report. But this is an agenda item, and they may speak on that item if you guys agree to allow them to do that. And I can tell you there are opinions on this.
They just gave us how many months?
They all laughed.
Yeah, we understand that they're opinions, but if they're just going to, do you want them to just give general opinions? I mean, I apologize, I come from a different environment, okay? And it is very controlled in terms of you file a minority report if you disagree with the committee report. We could have 13 different minority reports. And if that's what...
You don't really have time for 13 minority reports. You have to take action and have first and second reading December, the first meeting in December and the second meeting in December. So your opportunity to hear from them is either now or next week under citizens to be heard, unless you do. We're going to be talking about it somewhat next week as well, because you're going to have to give me direction. So, Mayor, if you don't want to allow the citizens to tell you their opinion.
I'm trying to
that's
use
you.
the best time to get the result that, because we're in a time, unfortunately, because we're at the end of the time frame, we're strapped. So do we need to, these are the recommendations. Should we review each of the recommendations this evening, and as they have comments to make, have them speak at that time, or just speak now and then not say anything else? This is the first time that I've been on council that the Charter Review Committee isn't unanimously supporting, well, wanting to make other recommendations on their own.
Yes, sir. This was a very active, engaged Charter Review Committee, and they considered several issues of which there are a great deal of passion. And they were very, very involved. So my recommendation is that you allow them to discuss, you hear the input, and that at the next work session, you guys give me your direction. You will probably want to hear the input before you give direction to me. But then we have very little time. At the next work session, you give me direction, I bring you back a draft, you look at it, and then I finalize it for the following meeting. So we have a very constrained time period. If you wait to hear from them, you're not going to have a lot of time to react.
No, we're looking for guidance from you as to.
That's what I would recommend. This was a very interesting, very diligent, very active. Everyone participated. There was no one that did not have input on this.
So minority reports being filed, one at a time, I guess. Just make sure that you have a card filled out and you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you. I'll fill out the card in a minute. David Lillisand, I was very proud to serve on the committee. We did work hard. We had tremendous participation by every single member. She's not overstating that fact. We had a lot of debate. We also did outside study. And I appreciate Ms. Aiken kind of advocating for the opportunity for us to speak at this point in time, but I also recognize the mayor's point, and I was the one, I think, that brought up the question of whether there could be a minority report, and I think she's responding primarily to what I had originally suggested, and I'd like to offer an alternative, which is that instead of discussing tonight, because other people may not be prepared, that those of us that have some comments about what we did, whether we were on the pro or the anti side of any issue, submit those comments to you in writing within the next 3-4 days so that you'll have them before you actually have to consider whether adopt or not adopt the recommendations, if that's okay.
Mayor, the only comment I would make is at our last meeting, I believe that the committee asked if they would be allowed to speak, and I believe that my response to that was, it's an agenda item, you can speak.
Right.
And if the committee wants to indicate that that they understood they would be able to speak, I would, and we see nodding heads.
Let me just comment on your statement, which is that was the question I asked, and yes, that was the answer you gave. And so I was probably the one person that brought up the issue of wanting to offer some comments about some of the recommendations. So I'm okay in pulling back from that position and just stating that I'll send you something in writing for your consideration to accomplish the same mission. I'd be happy to appear at the next meeting. I'm sure other committee members would too, if there are any questions that arise from all of that. But I don't want to put you in the position of putting these people without preparation in advance.
What the city attorney recommended is that you have your 3 minutes to speak on the issue that you want to talk on. And that's what we're here.
If you want me to go ahead.
We've got a time frame that at our next meeting, we've got to approve the language. And if we make any changes to that language, it's not going to get on the ballot in time.
I understand.
Okay?
All right. So I'm going to keep my comment very, very brief and address only one issue. We had a substantial amount of time devoted to in meetings with professionals on the issue of governance
in cities, whether there be districts, whether there be at large elections, whether we have a larger or a smaller city council. We also did individual research to see what are the reasons for changing what we have, which seems to me to be a system that has worked very, very well for a very long period of time. We also looked at the composition of the city council since the beginning of the city in the early 1900s. And we saw how the number of people on city council varied, sometimes 8, sometimes 7, sometimes 5. And we were concerned about looking beyond that to what's the rationale for changing what we have. To me, it looks like if it's working, you know, don't mess with it. So in looking at the rationale, the proposal to move towards districts, creating, and the one that I think had the most support was 641, which was 7 people on the council, the mayor elected at large, 2 additional city council people elected at large, and 4 elected from districts. Creating districts and having districts and doing those sorts of things make a lot of sense if you have a community that has very large minority interests, for example, or others who feel they're not being represented. And they can't compete unless they have X number of citizens per percentage of population. Clearwater is a very medium-sized city. And fortunately, we have a lot of harmony among our various ethnic groups. And no one group has a sufficient number of residents to really dominate or control a district to get a representative on the city council unless we created a city council of 11 people. And that seemed to me unworkable to go from 5 to 11, and in my opinion, personal opinion, unnecessary. I'm sorry. The compromise solution that came out.
Your time is up, sir.
Sorry. I'll send in comments.
Well, I want to thank you all for having me here. It's my first time here. So I've been amazed.
Have you filled out a card, ma'am?
I will fill one out. I got
Okay.
one right here.
We just need your
And
name.
my name is Leslie Coley. I am a citizen and a business owner here in the beautiful city of Clearwater. So again, my first time here, very interesting meeting, seeing a lot, hearing a lot, learning a lot. But I want to talk about this review charter committee only because I heard a couple of things that stood out to me, and that was that this was a committee that supposedly represented the city and that it was diverse. Yet, I didn't see me or anything that represented me among that diversity. So I just, when we start to talk about, and when I heard about where everyone lived, then I also didn't hear the area of the North Greenwood area, which I live in. And like I said, the diversity, as we see, I'm probably the only ethnic person in the room. So I just would say that when we're starting to use those terms, that they don't be just used like the term love. You know, I love you, but it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, if you're going to use diversity, then I would love to see what diversity looks like, and I would like to see it more representative of me within that group, or those citizens or the city members like me or myself to have a voice in making decisions. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you guys more often, because I will be here more often.
That is encouraging to hear, and to ease your mind, there was an African American on the committee.
My name is Mike Reardon. For the most part, the Charter Review Committee was positive for me. I want to compliment Mike Menino. He threw his hat out there to be the chair, and I quickly nominated him. He did a great job. I did recommend that we make a $500 or $600 increase to the salaries. There was a lot of people talking about a full-time salary position for the council, which I was against, but I'm heavily in favor of 7 people. In the 70s, we had about 50,000 people. The charter council members do a lot more now than they did in the past. The issue that really bothered me, though, was districts. We had a meeting at the library. I think some or most of you were there, and overwhelmingly, everybody came up and recommended districts. I made a recommendation for districts with a residency requirement, It was presented by the professional we had, that it makes it a lot less expensive. We could easily have 18,000 people per district. And I want it to be 6. I don't want it to be the 4-2-1 or anything. Because all you need is a majority vote. And if you have 2 at large and the mayor, you win 1 district, then you got your 4 votes, and it keeps the status quo. District representation has been proven to work extremely well around the country. It's not unique or rare, but it would allow a lot of people to find out who the council members are. Recently, the DDB was taken over by the Scientologists, and people are coming in my shop going, the city's been taken over by Scientologists. They're confusing the city council with the DDB, and it's drastically different, as we know. I was disappointed. This woman was just mentioning there wasn't representation. The gentleman who made the motion, former member of, it didn't come back to the Charter Review Committee after he left the chamber, made the motion to kill or vote against the recommendation of the districts, and he made the motion to vote for 7 council members and leave it alone and no districts. He said the African American community is only 10% and could never, he said, let's get real, they'll never win a position, even though we recently had a guy named Obama run the country. And I was really disappointed. And I was under the impression he was there as a citizen, but he never came back after he left the chamber. And the chamber is the biggest, powerful lobbyist we have downtown. It's the CPAC. It runs, it's that followed by the realtors. That's your 2 biggest lobbyists in this community and this county. So we need districts, and I would like to see this body think about when we have the strong mayor thing. Mayor Creticos mentioned it. We didn't float up an idea to see if the majority of the citizens were in favor of maybe going to a strong mayor. We could float out, I don't know if it'd be a referendum or an idea, get the conversation going, see if the citizens want districts. We don't have to decide on overnight, but if the citizens want districts and the majority that came to the library recommended districts, I think that strongly needs to be looked at. But overall, it's very positive. And thank you, Mr. Albritton, for appointing me to it. Adios. And I'm not a Vietnam veteran. I saw it on TV. It was entertaining.
Paperwork, and I like to speak on the districting as well. And I don't have legalese like David does, and David did do so much homework on numbers, but this is my theory. I think we need a larger council because, yes, our population is probably static the last couple of years. I forgot what we decided how many really, pardon me? 116,000. But boy, we're different than we were in days gone by. And you guys are dealing with so much of my money, and you're making decisions about the city. And I really feel there needs to be more of you. And I'm going to tell you why. Because there is more than the beach to this city. There's more than downtown to this city. There's the periphery of which I live. I live on the edge, so to speak. Mr. Horn said it's just right before we get to Palm Harbor. So I'm thinking if there's more of you, you'll have more of a chance to come out and get to know us, because I've told everyone that will listen that if they put all of you up in a lineup, half or more of the population wouldn't know anybody except him, because he comes to everything, okay? And you need to. You belong to us. I know you're not making a lot of money, and we appreciate what you do, and we didn't even give you a raise. But having said that, you do need to represent everybody, whether you do it at large or districting. That's why I wanted districting. I wanted somebody that I knew I could come to. And right now, I just don't feel that one person, except Mr. Johnson, and he's not even on it anymore. I felt a tie with him because he was always there for us. And I really don't feel that any one of you, except you, sir, it's true, he comes to everything. I've got more pictures of him, and he's got more pictures of me, and it's not even in a lineup. So I really feel that we need more of you to represent all of us. I'm on the Clearwater Neighborhood Coalition, and there's many neighborhoods that I think are probably underserved as far as knowing who you are. You could come to the library and read to the children on some days, maybe they'd get to know you. You could come to, and I am a sinner. Instead of neighborhood lunch or dinner, whatever it is you normally do, we have a breakfast, which my friend here will tell you, we have over 200 people that come, and you're missing out on votes. You know, that sort of thing. You need to come. I've seen you once in my neighborhood, and I've lived there for a long time. You know, you've come to one of the breakfasts, and I've seen Mr. Cundiff there. But I want to see all of you. I want to know who I go to if I have a problem. And right now, I don't think we have anyone like that. And I will tell you, most people in my neighborhood feel the same way. They don't know who you are. Thank you so much, though. Thank you.
Anybody else wanting to speak?
Just one more comment about districting. I was disappointed that we couldn't come to a decision about it because we did have that meeting on July 10th, and there was strong public sentiment for districting, and I think it's important that you're aware of that. And obviously now you're being made aware that there was significant dissension among us. I think we should have broken it down into two questions, districting yes or no, and I think we all would have said yes. The hard part came with what's that districting going to look like, and will really make a difference in representation of neighborhoods. But I think that you all, now it's in your lap, and to consider districting or not, and to let you know that a lot of us felt very strongly about it, as did the public. Thank you.
Well, good evening, Mayor Kritikos and Council. I'm Sean Schrader, and I'd like to thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to serve as a member on this past Charter Review Committee. I'd like to thank Councilmember Hamilton for initially putting my name as a suggestion, as well as to the entire council for voting on me to be a member. Throughout my time here in Clearwater, I've been fortunate enough to have different opportunities to get involved and engaged in our city. Of course, before this time, I'd heard of the city charter, but this experience has been very enlightening for me because it's allowed me to learn so much about our city charter, its many components, what it really means, and its relation to city operations on a day-to-day basis. This was also a great experience for me because we got to hear a lot of community input from many groups and many individuals of our community. And I really got to understand again how some of this input would relate to Clearwater and impact Clearwater on a day-to-day basis. Thanks to all of you, I've learned so much more about our city charter. I've become much more enlightened about this document, which truly is one that governs our city. So again, I thank you for the opportunity.
I have to fill out a card afterwards. Kelly, I think the majority of us did want districts. I think we got hung up on 6 districts versus the 4-2-1 idea. We listened very carefully at the public forum to what people had to say. And I know a lot of the people at the public forum were for that 4-2-1 districting, where there was 4 at-large, 2 districts, or 4 districts, 2 at-large and 1 mayor at-large, yes. So we got hung up on that. But I think the majority of us did want districts. The one minority member, as someone mentioned, took that off the table. Not quite sure the reason why. He ended up losing his job, unfortunately. I thought personally that to encourage more people to get on the council that wouldn't have the opportunity, I personally thought it was salary, because the only people that can make the meetings, the committees during the daytime are retired people, business owners that own their own business, or maybe independently wealthy. The average working person can't make all those meetings, so I thought by raising salaries, maybe that would give them the opportunity to do so. But that was declined, so I do hope you make a decision to encourage more people. You need diversity on the council. Nothing against all of you, you did a fine job, but I think the community wants to be represented more.
I'm Kathleen Beckman.
I'd like to take a moment to speak about the recommendations from the Charter Review Committee that you will soon be presented with, or you already have been, and will consider. I attended many of the Charter Review meetings. I would like to extend a sincere thank you to all those who volunteered their time for this very important work. Their discussions were thoughtful, meaningful, and respectful, and I would note in particular that Mr. Menino, as chair of the committee, set a tone of mutual respect and full engagement. And as a member of the public, I was able to ask questions and offer suggestions. So I say a sincere thank you. There were a few key recommendations that I spoke to during the review process. I, like most, spoke in favor of a district form of government. And while the Charter Review Committee is not recommending districts, it seems to be because they could not agree on a type of districting to recommend. So I would encourage you to move to district form of representation for 3 reasons. Districts make communication and representation easier for both candidates and voters. Voters are more likely to meet with candidates and elected officials when they reside close to their neighborhood. And campaigns cost less because candidates are not traveling to all parts of the city. By reducing the cost and time commitment of campaigning, we encourage a wider pool of candidates to run. Campaigns will be smaller, more manageable, and focused on the unique needs of a district. And finally, districts may be a way for Clearwater to achieve a more accurate representation of its diverse population. Next, I would encourage you to adopt annual measurable goals for our city manager. And to go further, I would encourage you to require written annual evaluations of our city manager. This is simply the form of accountability and transparency that our city needs. It is my belief that to be effective and to make progress, employees must have measurable goals, and progress on those goals needs to be evaluated and reported in a written format. I also want to strongly urge you to adopt, just as the committee is recommending, the environmental philosophy statement under the duties section of the charter. And this is the wording. As part of the discharge of its duty, the council shall, so that would mean you all, research and report the environmental impact of all decisions with the goal of reducing our energy consumption, waste generation, our dependence on fossil fuels, and production of greenhouse gases. Wow. What a great philosophy for a municipality to adopt. It's simply requiring you to become knowledgeable about the environmental impact of the decisions you make here on council. You may say you don't need to legislate that, but in fact you do. Protecting our environment is far too important to be left to chance. I believe if it is a requirement to investigate and report back, it will become second nature for council to simply ask, how is this impacting the environment? Is there a safer, more sustainable way to do something? And if we spend now more on a particular purchase, will it save us money and help us reduce our carbon footprint? Thank you.
Anybody else from the public to speak?
Hi, I'm Mark Bunker. I attended that hearing, and I didn't speak when they asked for comments about open seat or districts. I didn't because I knew that I would be voting opposite of what Kathleen Beckman was voting, and I agreed with Kathleen. So it's an unusual situation. She very passionately believes in districts, and I understand that completely. I believe if we can make the board more inclusive, if we can get more representation on the council, that's all for the good. My only concern with districts is, as you see with the Downtown Development Board, if you make the district small enough, you've got Scientology in control. And I didn't want to get up and make that part of the agenda that night. I do really support districts. And I think the voice of the people should be heard. Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to speak?
Good evening. My name is Gary Lee. I did attend one of the public meetings. I did not support districting. The reason I did not support districting at that particular meeting, when I looked at the last 3 elections, council members, some of the council members ran unchallenged. In the last election, one of the challengers for the council said, I'm just running because I don't want this council member to run unopposed. So if we have at-large council people and we can't find enough candidates to fill the spots other than just one, how will districting enforce what our real goal is? If our real goal is to find diversity, then we need to look at a plan that will allow us to include diversity. I suggested one and sent an email to you folks. And I think those are there, and you just have to think about it a little bit longer on that particular subject. My suggestion was increase the council size to 7 and have the council, much like they do the citizens of Clearwater, have people volunteer for an appointee spot for 2 to 4 years, something like that. That way you could appoint the diversity that you're really looking for, and you don't impose the financial burden of running for an office. So I don't think districting will work, and then trying to find the rules that define that particular district and how to cut the city up into that particular district that would represent a particular minority, and then review that, it just adds so much more complexity to our city council. I think you folks do a fine job. I think that you do a lot of diligent research. I'm impressed with all of you, and the form that we have now has worked pretty well for a long time. Finances are always going to play into the part of running for an office, like one of the other speakers mentioned. And I think that's the biggest detriment to running for a councilman. Thank you, Gary Lee.
Thank you. Okay, we will close public comment. Ms. Aiken, what do you want us to do next?
What I would like you to do is at the work session, at the next work session, be prepared to give me direction on the recommended
On
items.
each of these items?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
One of your attachments is what the charter would look like with the proposed amendments. So you can also look at that and see how it would read in context with the charter.
Okay.
So at the next meeting, I'd like you to be prepared to give me direction on what ordinances you want for charter amendments. So you tell me what you want drafted, I'll do them as quickly as possible, give you an opportunity to wordsmith, because you always do, and then bring it back for first reading in December, second reading in the second meeting in December.
Council, any questions?
One question,
Mr.
clarification. Thank you, Mayor. There was, because I was held to this one charter piece, isn't there already a charter that piece that says you cannot be compensated or work for a private entity and lobby council members for 2 years? Isn't that already in our charter?
1 year.
Oh, it's 1 year.
Yes. So now it will be 2 years, which is consistent with state law. State law is 2.
I think you guys held me to gag order for 2 years.
Well, actually, what I believe we held you to is what the state law requires. So we're trying to become consistent with
Oh,
state
so what
law.
you held me to for 2 years wasn't actually accurate in the city?
No,
It
it
was
is.
state law.
No, state law preempts. That's why we're changing this, so that we
Oh,
are.
okay, we're just changing our charter to
Yes.
align with, I
So
see.
that we're not in conflict with the state.
Well, now what, but I'm reading this differently.
Okay.
Increase the time frame present or former council members may hold compensated appointed city office or employment.
He was also talking about the lobbying provision.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is an ordinance.
But that's different than what this is.
It is different than
Yeah.
this provision.
Now
This
that
is-
you read that, the clarification is clear.
This is geared at me.
Yeah.
I can't come to work for the city for 2 years.
Yeah.
And you too now.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's right.
I was going to be a photographer or something.
So it's clear, that's actually an
Okay,
expansion
yeah.
of a little
Okay,
bit.
okay.
It's in line with state law, that's good.
So let's take I apologize, but we ought to take a recess, and then we'll come back to the last discussion item on our agenda.
So we're finished with this.
Unless there's any other question, you want to tell us something else?
I'm fine with
Okay.
this. And our next,
And again, to the committee, thank y'all for all your efforts. We're going to agree on some things and we're going to disagree on some things. What we're going to have to keep in mind is that the charter of the city of Clearwater is like the Constitution of the United States. Keep that in mind, because that's real. And the other thing that we have to keep in mind is that all of these things get on the ballot. And some people get confused when they have lots of things on the ballot. And we need to, keep that in mind. We will recess until 8:15. like to reconvene the city council meeting of November the 7th. Agenda item 12.1.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight's discussion is in regards to the pay for the city attorney and city manager positions. The performance evaluation discussions for those two positions took place at the city council meeting on October 3rd, 2019. It is normal practice that at subsequent meetings, the discussion of the pay for those two positions will be had. Tonight is that discussion. As discussed during our one-on-ones with each of the council members and at the work session, we have completed a standard analysis that's performed every year in regards to the comparison of the salaries, the actual salaries for the city manager and city attorney positions. We provided traditional jurisdiction matches that include both county and city matches. I'll be happy to go through that spreadsheet with you all again if you would like me to, or I can just answer any additional questions you may have.
Councilor, you're all comfortable with just having a discussion?
Yep.
Okay. Ms. Aiken has she left the room? Okay.
And we don't know if Mr. Horn's watching this online.
Yeah, well, Ms. Aiken, yeah, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't.
Yeah. So we're just going to talk.
Sure, I
Okay.
understand.
Anybody
I'll be here to
want
answer any questions.
Anybody want to go first? Or do y'all want me to go first? Mr. Aldrin?
I'll go ahead and break the ice.
Okay.
Yeah, I went over with our one-on-ones. Are we doing one at a time? We
Yeah,
doing city manager first or
Yes.
city attorney?
Just do one at a time.
Okay, so we'll just.
Bye.
Did you want me here or not, sir?
You can say if you
Traditionally,
want
we
me.
step out, but it's up to you.
If you're comfortable being here, I'm comfortable with you being here.
Maybe a legal question.
I don't know that any of us are going to say something you haven't heard anyway.
I'm
All right.
sure you won't. I'll be happy to stay.
So I'm gonna talk about the city attorney.
Okay.
As you know, we had comments a meeting or so ago. I did a written comment. I've always been happy with what Pam Aiken does for the city and all the groups. I was on a charter review back in 2015 and just saw the hours and hours that she spent on that and the hours that she spent on this charter review. And all the other things that we ask her to do, that she's in and out at night after hours. So I gave her a good review, and the only thing with these lists that we got with, let's just take population of cities. You've given us 8 or 9 cities. I think one was way out of skew as far as kind of maybe threw everything out of skew on it, but it shows that, according to the 7 or 8, I guess one city's out, so instead of 8, there are 7 cities to compare with. Pam's averaged lower than those city attorneys that had about the same population. Some of them were more, but so I would recommend, instead of her being down by 11.1, I'd say a 3.5, as I did last year, increase would be sufficient for me.
If that's a motion, I'll be happy to second it.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we give Ms. Aiken a 3.5% raise.
Motion's been made and seconded to give Ms. Aiken a 3.5 salary increase. Anybody from the public to speak to the motion? Okay. Comments, council. Mr. Hamilton.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Pam's, no doubt about it. I think she does a very good job. Looking at this, I mean, I'm okay at 3.5. I wasn't going to come in quite that high. I was more in the somewhere between 2.5 and 3 range, in my mind. But if you know, if the will of the board is 3.5, they're happy with it. I don't think she doesn't deserve it. I just look at, you know, and I know the mayor does too, look at what we give our other, what our other employees get as a raise and what our, you know, all of those things considered. I have no problem at 3.5. I just would not have, I wasn't going to come out of the gate at that number, so.
Mr. Vogel.
I have a question for Jennifer. I had asked for the contracts, and I did get them. Thank you for both city manager and city attorney. And under voluntary resignation, there's no severance pay, but what there is accrued and unused general leave. But if we're suggesting 3.5%, and both city manager and city attorney have already stated publicly that they will be retiring this year, just so that everybody's clear, that's the city.
Next year.
Did I say this year?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
2020.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, considering.
Neither one of them has officially stated.
Maybe I read too much of the Tampa Bay Times.
Public is.
Because I seem to have read that somewhere.
That would be true.
I canceled my subscription anyway.
Don't say that too loud because they may be covered.
That's okay. So my question is, to grant them a 3.5% increase is also a 3.5% increase in their annuity, retirement, and matching funds, correct?
That is correct.
And it is a collective raise to that pot of money. So it's for the whole thing, not just the 15% from here on out until they retire.
Well, the 15% is on the base pay. So if you're increasing the base pay, that would then compound on the 15%.
So it ends up being a higher, not severance, but a higher departure package.
It would go up by whatever increase is given, would increase the value of their general leave by that same amount.
Yeah. Okay. I just.
Ms. Aiken knows what I'm going to say. But let me remind y'all, Mr. Hamilton was sort of on target. You know, we've been very blessed here in the city of Clearwater. We've had 2 employees who've been with us an awful lot of years. That stability has benefited the city, but it also has given them a sense of security. And they put public service above salary. Because as you can tell from these remarks, if they didn't like it here, if they didn't think that they were serving our public right, they would have gone on for more pay someplace else. People do that in the private sector all the time. But when you're in the public sector, your heart is in a different place. And Miss Aiken and Mr. Horn's heart has been in a different place. It's been in Clearwater. And I would wager that they would probably continue to work at the same salary. But that's not practical either. I have never been comfortable giving either one of them more than the cost of living increase. And, you know, that's a sacrifice that they make, but it's also a trade-off that they make because of the stability that they've had being able to work with councils over the years to serving the people and serving the city. So while I respect the work that they do, I appreciate it immensely. I cannot support anything more than the cost of living, and I think that's
It's 1.6.
1.6. And the other thing that is always in the back of my mind, Clearwater has an awful lot of residents who are dependent on Social Security. They're going to get
1.6.
1.6. Motion has been made and seconded to approve a 3.5 increase for the city attorney. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
I just wanted some clarification first on the effective date, and then I just wanted to read the appropriation code and amount that is typically included in the agenda item, but because we weren't sure what the salary increase would be, the funds are for a 3.5 increase. The funds are available in the city attorney's operating budget, and so there's no other appropriation or reserve funds are needed. I just want to make sure that was right on the record.
Okay. So it would be effective, do you want to make it the fiscal year, or do you want to make it effective when we pass it tonight?
Upon passage.
Okay. Okay. Motion, so was it 4 to 1? Was it 4 to 1? 4 to 1.
What does that
Thank
take
you,
for
Council.
salary increase?
And now to the city manager.
I'll start.
Go ahead. Mr. Pogwise.
Thank you, Mayor. So having just been appointed to city council in December, I don't feel comfortable sort of rating or judging and analyzing a salary discussion based on that collective time. So I'm going to do it just, for me, just based on the last year, 18 months I've been here. And for me, I've had, though we've moved the dial in several arenas, imagine Clearwater and different things have taken place, I've been extremely frustrated this last 9 or 10 months with follow-up, with just responsiveness. And my city manager review is public. I gave it to him in a sealed envelope. So I don't think our city manager will be surprised I'm not recommending any increase based on this last 18 months of collective work that I've been a part of for many different reasons. I'm not going to go into them tonight. You can do a public records request on my city manager evaluation. I did a written evaluation. And especially in light of the question and the information that I received from Jennifer, this actually makes the department package a little bit bigger. So I won't be recommending any increase. And of course, I won't support a 3.5.
So let me get a motion. I thought you were going to be making a motion. Let me get a motion on the floor. Mr. Kondo.
I didn't get a chance to speak on the previous motion, which I'd like to this time. But I move that we give Mr. Horn a 3.5% increase.
Is there a second?
I will second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to give the city manager a 3.5 increase. Anybody from the public to speak to the motion?
Good evening, Gary Lee from Clearwater. Been a resident for almost 30 years. And I have nothing but good things to say to our council members and to especially our city manager, Mr. Horn. I live on a property that has many different kinds of easements on it. And in the past 20 years that I've lived there, I suppose I've spoken with at least 100 different city employees as they came there to perform their work. In all situations, every single one of them, the employees were polite, they were courteous, they were respectful, and they were helpful. And to me, I would, if Mr. Horn were here, I would say, how did you teach 2,000 people to do that? I'm impressed. And to me, that's also a reflection of the leadership. Employees tend to reflect the leadership to some degree or another. So in regards to the increase for Mr. Horn, I saw that he didn't get an increase last year. All of my experiences with the city and the employees have been very positive. And I would say that that 3.5% is low. If you would ask me what to recommend, I would say 5%. He didn't have anything last year. This year, try to make up, I think, Mr. Horn, from a resident's perspective, We don't interact with him every day. And Mr. Maxwell, I've seen you under his tutelage, if I can use that word. If you replace him, I hope you just do half as good a job as what he's done with the public. And the people that I've talked to say that Mr. Horn has done a terrific job. And I would like to see him get a nice increase.
Anyone else from the public to speak?
I filled out a card. One of the recommendations that we made in the Charter Review Committee was to establish standard objective criteria for the performance of the city manager and the city attorney for exactly this reason. And the phrase that we use is that if you don't measure it, you can't manage it. But if you, as a group, develop specific, objective, standardized criteria that you can measure performance against, that protects the city manager, it measures the city manager, but also protects him from the individual assumptions and interactions. And so we encourage you to establish objective criteria that you can all evaluate the city manager and the city attorney by. Thanks.
Anybody else from the public to speak? Motion's been made and seconded to give the city manager a 3.5% increase. Comments, Councilor? Let's clarify one thing. Mr. Horn did not get a raise last year because that was his request to the council. It wasn't a council decision. We accepted his recommendation, right? Mr. Hamilton.
Okay, a couple things, and we'll get into the goals and objectives and measurements and this, that, and the other at the work session, because as I've stated before, I don't necessarily agree with that, because the goalposts on goals and objectives measurable in private enterprise are much easier to identify. With a city manager's job and what we do, having 5 bosses and everything else, those goalposts move constantly. And, it's to try and put a hard metric on it, I don't agree with. But now, back to about what we're here to talk about. Historically, be it right, wrong, or indifferent, when you look at the raises that are given to the city manager and city attorney, last year not being an anomaly by Mr. Horn's own choice, whatever raise we gave to the city attorney, we've given to the city manager and vice versa. Point one. Point two, we're getting a bargain in both offices from a salary perspective when you look at the average salary for our comparables. And I can promise you, as people are, while some people are trying to push you out the door quicker than you've made any commitment to do, as well as the city manager, when either or both of them are gone, what they're getting paid today isn't going to get our new city manager and new city attorney. I can promise you that. So I recognize the bargain, and since I was okay with, I voted in favor of 3.5 for the city attorney, I'm voting in favor of 3.5 for the city manager.
Mr. Cundiff, I apologize for overlooking you the last time. I will not do so this time. Mr. Cundiff.
I wanted to say for 2 reasons. Both city attorney and city manager, over the years that they have been there were 4 years where they did not take a salary increase. And that may be one of the reasons that they're lower than all their counterparts in other jurisdictions. And number 2, the city employees are getting a 3.5% increase, most of them, and I think it's only fair to do that with our manager and city attorney. So I'll be voting for the motion.
Leaves me.
Well, you don't have to say anything. We'll finish faster.
Well, I gave, as like Mr. Poglaze, I've been a little disappointed in some of the things that I brought to bill that haven't been initiated, that I thought would be pushed along a little bit quicker. But I kind of agree with Mr. Hamilton that Bill, it's a lot. Bill does a good job of running the whole city and everything that that we bring to him, not only myself, but all 5 of us bring to him. And I know last year he didn't, it was his, we did give him right, we voiced that we wanted to give him a raise last year and he declined it. So I, even with my little disappointment this year, I mean, it's all in the, I did a written evaluation. I still rated him at 4 stars, so I'm going to go ahead and agree that 3.5 would be good for this year.
My comments for Mr. Horn are no different than my comments for the city attorney. Mr. Hamilton, you're right. The next city attorney, the next city manager are going to cost the city a whole lot more money. And so they are a bargain in today's dollars. But again, I go back to what I said, because this is going to be important to the next council that looks at replacing these 2 people when it's time to replace them. Stability means an awful lot in the city manager business. And to know that you can come to a city and be here for a lot of years if you do your job well, you know, rather than uprooting your family every 2 or 3 years, carries an awful lot of weight. So, and Mr. Cundiff, to your point on the previous years when he did not get a salary increase, that was during the recession years where we were cutting back our expenses, and even our employees were being asked to make some sacrifices, and they, being the true leaders that they are, agreed not to take money. So that was that reasoning. Again, I say, you know, the cost of living increase. And Mr. Lee, you're right. He does a great job with all of our employees. We're to commend them for the work that they do throughout the year. Just remember, a 3.5% increase on $200,000 isn't the same as a 3.5 increase on $40,000. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I again, you know, reluctantly, but convincingly in my own mind, could not support more than the cost of living. The effective date, again, would be with the passage of this.
And I just want to also read into the record that there is funding available for the city, in the city manager's operating budget for the salary increase.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to approve a 3.5 increase for the city manager. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No.
No. So 3-2 with Poglaze and Creticus in opposition. Again, to both of y'all, thank you very much for your service, your dedication, really, to not only us, but to our residents. And we appreciate your understanding, those of us who did not go as high as some of the rest of us did. With that, we have closing comments. Mr. Poglaze.
Thank you, Mayor. I did have a few closing comments, and in light of some of the most recent media attention that's been given to Clearwater, downtown Clearwater, I wanted to remind the public and say a few things, and the mayor did write something that went to the paper, but I'm personally a stakeholder in this city, and I felt I wanted to say something personally. In every challenge, you can acknowledge difficulty and see opportunity. I speak wholeheartedly in the moment. Each one of us here today have witnessed many successes and indeed some failures in Clearwater. As elected officials, we have an obligation to progress in the face of adversity and provide assurance when there is doubt. That obligation is to the citizens who have trusted us to lead this dynamic community into a more prosperous, safe, and thriving future. Clearwater has transformed throughout the years because of committed stakeholders who believe in the success of our city and community. It is that spirit of perseverance that we need to exercise in order to keep progressing as we take advantage of new opportunities. There have been many questions and uncertainties recently, prompting the need for guidance in this community. I want to assure our residents, business owners, and visitors that the City Council will not throw in the towel, I repeat, will not throw in the towel regarding any present or future obstacles. Imagine Clearwater is a truly remarkable development. However, we must all acknowledge it is not a panacea for this city's revitalization. In light of the recent downtown property sales, my hope is that the new property owners seek to develop publicly accessible projects that benefit and add value to our community. I'd like to remind everyone that today there's approximately 75,000 square feet of retail space, more than 200,000 square feet of office space, numerous key redevelopment sites, and over 100 companies in our downtown community who are transparent and without any direct affiliation to a sole entity other than their own. Respective of these privately owned assets, including county and municipal properties, we seek new development to continue our revitalization efforts of the downtown area. As elected city officials, we must take responsibility over our downtown and all neighborhoods in Clearwater. I urge each one of us to be bold and collective in our approach in building a strong community. It is without a doubt that we need to do a better job of bringing economic development to our city and downtown. Downtown Clearwater has been a difficult puzzle to solve for many decades, with very few victories to count. I've been rethinking that last sentence. We have several victories. We must do better, and we will do better as we grow the vibrant city we all imagine and hope for. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Conduff.
Nothing this evening.
Mr. Albritton.
You know, I think what Mr. Pogley says kind of hits the nail on the head for me. I was asked directly if I would, give up on this town, and my response was absolutely not. I could still have a vision that we're going to make a vibrant, not only a vibrant downtown, but all of Clearwater with this project. It'll be good for everybody, and we do work hard up here making decisions for all of Clearwater. It's unfortunate that the downtown seems to have the most problems, and we do talk about that the most, but it doesn't mean that that is what is foremost on our mind. We have development on the beach, we have things going on in the 19 corridor. I'm proud of all of Clearwater, and I'm going to fill the rest of my term working really hard to get all of Clearwater vibrant. I want to thank the Charter Review Committee for their hard work. Each one of you, even though you were appointed, volunteered for that spot. And I want to tell you, we have a lot of volunteers, and it never makes it to the paper. But Clearwater is filled with it. And the Downtown Development Board meeting yesterday, we had some residents bring up a idea to light the downtown. And that didn't come from the board. They were telling the board that they were putting it together. And I thought, this isn't the first time we've had just citizens coming that actually make things happen. And that's the value of our city, is we have great people that live here that really love Clearwater and promote it. So I'll work hard for you the next 2 years I'm here to keep that dream alive.
Mr. Hamilton.
All right, I guess I am going to go here. It's frustrating sometimes. I understand, I hear what people say. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it. They don't have to agree with me. But, we hear about diversity. I don't worry about the diversity up here as much as I worry about the quality of the work we do. I think we're going to be defined by the quality of the work we do, whether we're 5 old white guys or there's 4 women up here or anything else. The city council is going to get judged by the quality of the work we do. And, I get pigeonholed by many, many people that all I worry about is the beach. I don't live on the beach. I live in town. I grew up in town. I know this city. No, I don't make it to every little meeting there is and every breakfast there is. The mayor does a great job, and I respect him for it. Bill Johnson, when he was on the council, made it to a lot of meetings. They're retired, and they have that kind of time. I have a business, a family business. My job requires, I'm required to pay a little bit of attention to that. And I also like my personal time. I like to play golf with my friends. I like to spend time with my wife. I like to travel. This is not a full-time job. I don't get paid full-time money to do this job. But I think I do a damn good job sitting up here, or else the people wouldn't have allowed me to be here for 12 years, and I got 2 more to go. So I'm not going to agree, and I can tell you there's points on this, and I appreciate all the work the charter review people put into this. But there's points on here that I am not going to support because it's my personal belief and it's the way I am and the way I'm built. Doesn't make me right and doesn't make you wrong. There's no right or wrong to this. It's how you do the job. When I got elected the first time 12 years ago, I told my wife, and I made the commitment to the people that elected me, I said, I will change the job before I will let the job change me. And I think I've done a good job of that so far. I still wear my shorts into City Hall because that's what I wear to my real job. And I don't go home to change clothes to come to City Hall. But I'm very proud of the job we do and the quality of the job we deliver to the people of Clearwater. And I will continue to do that with everything I've got for the next 2 years.
I'd like to remind everybody that Monday is Veterans Day. It is not Memorial Day. On November the 11th, we commemorate and remember everyone who is in the armed services, active duty, as well as those who have served in the past. And we would encourage everyone to come out to Crest Lake Park at 9:30 in the morning on Monday to celebrate with us and the Tampa Bay Veterans Alliance for a short program. And while we're bringing that up, if you have not already bought a tile to remember someone in your family who has served, even you yourself, please consider doing that. I'm sure that we could agree that the committee would agree that we will do another Veterans Day special of $150 per plaque to get that completed sooner rather than later. Because it is Veterans Day, our city offices will at the rec center and the library will be closed. Solid waste, though, however, will be working, and there are no changes to our collection schedule. The Clearwater Beach Brawl is on November the 16th at Clearwater Beach. This is the annual CrossFit competition that takes place at Pier 60 Park. Again, on behalf of the City Council and the Clearwater Jazz Holiday, I want to thank our Parks and Recreation Department and its employees for the work that they did, especially on Friday when we had to cancel the concert at Jazz Holiday, and the work that they did in tearing down and then building back up for the people and the show on Saturday and Sunday. I want to remind everybody that qualifying ends for the March election on Friday, November the 15th. The Sheridan Sankey Council, I don't remember if y'all were aware of this or the public. Tampa Bay hosted the annual Medal of Honor recipient program convention at the Marriott Waterside in Tampa. The Sheridan Sankey and some of our beach businesses got together and brought them to Clearwater to stay at the Sheridan for 3 days after that. And so we want to thank the Sheridan and talk about, Council, the funniest thing. I was with some of the men at the breakfast, and they were saying that they were going to the hockey game on Wednesday night, and that it might take them a while to make it out to center ice because, you know, a lot of us are over 70. And so I looked at them and smiled and didn't let on that some of the people that they were talking to were over 70 also. But this was our generation because most of the people who were there served in Vietnam and got their Medal of Honor awards for what they did in Vietnam, and how fortunate, we were either to have gone and returned, or not having to go. So we really appreciated them. I think they had one gentleman who was 96 years old who had served in World War II. So that was pretty exciting to see them, and to thank the Sheridan for helping organize that events, that they could come here to Clearwater. Our next meeting is on Thursday, the 21st. And our work session will be on Monday, the 18th. Thank you again to the Charter Review Committee for the work that they did. Thank you for spending part of your evening with us. We are adjourned.